The first time I met Yubi Agata at his son David's house, he poured me a cup of coffee. He didn't ask me how I take my coffee. He had already decided that for me. But he had such an easygoing way of making you do things his way, I didn't complain. Plus, we were having dessert. Yubi was always a part of how the Agata family could make me feel welcome, no matter the occasion. He always asked about my folks and about my job. I don't remember ever seeing Yubi in the house without a big smile on his face looking at each of you. What I remember best is that Yubi always looked me straight in the eye, even when I told him a corny joke. He tried to hide his grin behind his mustache, but it was a pretty big grin, so he didn't bother hiding it too much. He could have the most serious conversation about something as simple as a stadium hot dog, or he could bring down to earth the most serious topics with his simple observation and his equally simple advice. He was a wise man. When I went to a high school reunion in New York City, Yubi insisted I stay in a spare room at his place because I was David's friend. Yubi and the cats and I had a very nice conversation while I pressed a uniform for the next day. Yubi had that calm, quiet kind of pride that I had always sought to obtain in my own career. It's like he had nothing to prove, but when he spoke to me about his career, I was always impressed. Before I flew back to Florida, we had a sangria and steaks. It was a fancy little meal for no real reason at all, except chatting with an old friend. What more reason could you have? Personal note, that was what my dad was about. The next time I was in New York, Yubi once again offered to pick up my grandmother and meet us for dinner. He was always courteous and hospitable. That must have been an interesting meeting and a car ride because my grandmother doesn't speak more than a few words of English. Plus, she can be rather grumpy with strangers. I can just imagine her waiting on the curb when he pulled up. To this day, I don't know what he said to her, that they were coming to see me. After a few exchanges, she got in the car. I asked her later, and she told me that she had no idea what he was talking about. But that he was very polite, and that he said my name. She said you could tell good people, even if you don't know what they're saying. Having good people in our lives is a blessing from the Lord. Having a wise old friend is a blessing that is all the more special. I will remember Yubi fondly for trading corny jokes with me, for his stories, for his patience with my stories. I can tell a long story. For his direct wisdom, for the proud grins he kept ready for the family he loved, for always making me feel like part of that family, and for a good conversation over a good cup of coffee anytime, holiday or not, with dessert. Respectfully, Marty Castellanos.